better.
So why? Tell me about, of course it's better, of course. Just let me, some people would prefer to, I don't know, do nothing. So it's like unemployment is not bad, but of course it's not good. So, but of course we need to work. So tell
Yes.
me about your country. I want to know about your country that's actually if unemployment is a huge problem in Sweden or no?
Um. Right now there is I rarely see some person who unemployment. So because in my country there's abundance of job for people. So yes, they quite have a job. Even if it not really handsome salary, but they still have a job, especially
Yeah.
in some clothes company or some
Ah,
shoes company like that.
yeah, of course, of course. Well, actually, you know that nowadays, some countries, of course, people in some countries are facing like some issues about employment. So it's like, they don't have, of course, they studied, but they can't find a good position appropriate to their, for example, knowledge. So because
Yeah.
of this, they would prefer not to work. Of course, I don't agree with this. So, but it can be really crucial, maybe situation, and it can be a really significant problem that the world uh, can face, but it's like not everywhere. So we are
Yes.
lucky that not everywhere, but some countries. Actually, I think I heard something about India. I'm not sure about it. Because of this, I think it's not bad to watch a video about it because I'm not sure. Just I want to know if they have. So do you know anything about it, first of all?
Um.
Facing unemployment in India?
I know India is a country was very complex about a lot of things, especially with the region um, and people in the society, like a class in the societies.
Yeah,
So
of
we cannot
course.
say something in India because you know that in India in a society there is 7 class of a citizen. So if the person who was born in a lower class, I remember his name Hablit. You cannot have a job even you are good enough, even you are very smart, but probably you can never get a job. You can only live a life in very
Yeah,
poor life.
as you
Yeah.
said, yeah, of course, maybe there is a huge difference between working class, and of course, rich people in this country, because I heard, and of course, we have recently watched actually some videos about, the most, maybe the wealthiest, I'm not sure, in the world, or maybe in India, I'm not sure, about, what was the name? Ambani, like this. So a wedding. I don't know if you watch, just some part of actually videos related to that ceremony that was actually, we can say, the most expensive wedding ceremony all around the world so far. So I think why? And at the same time, at the moment, people who live in poverty at the same country. It's not reasonable. Okay, well, so first of all, let's watch this video together, and after that we'll talk about it. So let me share and accept my apologies because of accent. I can't do anything about it. So it's from India, but you know.
Now let's talk about jobs, specifically the job market in India. The last few years have been challenging. There's been a global layoff wave, and it has not spared India. Thousands of people have lost their jobs across companies and sectors. But we're focusing on India tonight for a specific reason. A new report is out by the International Labour Organization, or ILO. It talks about employment in India, or the lack of it. It says a large number of Indian youth are out of work. The numbers are staggering. In the year 2000, around 35% of Indian youth were unemployed. By 2022, the number almost doubled. The ILO says about 65% of the youth in India are jobless. 65%.
Wow.
How did this happen? Let me put this figure in perspective. In these 22 years, from the year 2000 to 2022, India's population surged dramatically. More people have entered the workforce, but jobs have not been created at the same pace. So job growth is not matching the population growth. Let me show you another figure from this report. It says 83% of the jobless workforce in India is under 34 years of age.
Oh.
So most of the unemployed people are young. And this is worrying because India's young population is seen as a national asset. It drives the optimism around the future of the Indian economy. Our youth is a major selling point for international businesses too. They want to invest in India to cash in on the youth. Economists celebrate India's demographic advantage. So why can't India capitalize on this youth? Why haven't we been able to create enough opportunities? It was always a tall ask, and the pandemic, it seems, made it worse. Before the Wuhan virus struck the economy, employment among the youth was still rising. Until 2019, the numbers were going up, but the pandemic seems to have reversed the trend. Job creation took a hit, and we are yet to recover. And this is going to be a long-term challenge. More than 50% of India's population is below the age of 25 years. So in the coming years, more Indians will enter the job market. In the next decade, we'll add 7 to 8 million job seekers. So another 7 to 8 million people looking for jobs in India. India will have to create employment for them. And that is a challenge, not just for India, by the way, but the whole world. The pace of job creation has slowed down globally. The same ILO published an assessment on this. The projection came last year. It said job creation around the world will grow by just 1% in 2023. Like I said, this was a projection. We do not have the actual figures yet. And for 2024, the ILO said jobs will grow by just 1.1%. So marginal growth, which is why major economies are facing an unemployment crisis. We've already told you about India. Unemployment rate is around 8% here. This is according to the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. Now look at Europe. Countries like Spain, Greece, Sweden, Italy, Finland, France, they're all struggling.
Oh.
Last year, all of these countries reported an unemployment rate of well over 7%. And China is doing even worse. Close to 12 million people are without a job in China, and these numbers are from July last year. The situation has only worsened since. So much so that starting August, China stopped publishing its youth unemployment data. So we don't really know. We don't have the numbers. We don't know how the world's second largest economy is faring on the jobs front. And all these trends are important, these global trends. India should pay attention to them because if major economies are struggling to create jobs, the impact will be felt in India too. Add to that the rise of emerging technologies like AI, artificial intelligence. They're disrupting the job market. Companies are widely adopting AI tools, and this will take away more jobs. On the upside, it will also create new jobs. And that's the trend that India must focus on. What is needed is some out-of-the-box thinking, harnessing technology and building on your strengths. And this applies to job seekers too, especially the young. What you learn in the classroom today may soon become redundant. So focus on constantly upskilling yourself, follow the emerging trends, and align your training with the demands of the market. Also know that you're entering choppy waters. There is a lot of disruption. You may have to wait, even struggle to find your dream job.
Wow. So first, fortunately, our country was not included, but that was a good point. Yeah. Okay.
I really like the Indian accent, I really like that.
That was good, but that was good. That was really good. But, because I have students, they are really intelligent. They are good at English. They are talented, but the accent. Sometimes I'm like, what are you talking about? I can't say, teacher, this. I say, so I can hear what you say. Just they pronounce in really different way. So it's a bit difficult to understand what they say, but this one was really clear. It was really good. So we can say
Mm.
little, okay? And now let me ask you another question about the age of employment in your country. What is the age of employment in your country, legal age?
With some, I remember that with some job that was a light job
Yeah,
is 16 above, but with some heavy job like a building, like an engineer, like some person who do the who do the job that make the iron, make the steel in a factory, they ask for over 18, or especially with some specific job they ask for 25 above. So
yeah.
yes.
To 25, Bob. Yeah. Okay. And well, so of course, so when it comes to some maybe specific jobs, so of course people can start walking. And now let me ask another question. As we watch according to the video, so actually people in India. So what's the reason? So according to the video, so what's the reason of employment in India, you think? And the word.
I think because after the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, the economy of India have not recovered yet. So the employment status will still remain to nowadays. I think so.
Yeah, of course. And do you think technology has affected this trend? Like, for example, people normally, especially, by actually the invention of artificial intelligence, robots. So people maybe in companies, corporations tend to use some, I don't know, maybe virtual power instead of real workers. So what do you think?
That technology, I think it's technology, especially with artificial intelligence, are replacing people right now, but in India we cannot we don't observe too much. Like we still see people do some normal job. So I think it's not this purpose. It's not about this the factor, yeah,
Yeah.
or something else.
How about in the future?
Um, in the I think in the future they will change the people, the worker, become the AI, the robot, the everything that don't need to pay salary. So I think if the population uh, in the future the population is still increasing, like right now we can observe a mass amount of people who unemployed.
Yeah, of
So I think
course. Of course, of course. Well, okay, now let's get started with this topic. Okay, and what we have. Just let's have a look at this photo. What do you think about this? Really? Not walking? Oh, of course. Oh, not walking. High schools? So really, what will happen? So,
uh let me think. Other thing is the people who graduate from high school, who have a high knowledge about everything about subject are increasing nowadays, and they keep graduate every years, and the amount of the graduated student are increased, but the job is not too much like for them, so they're just waiting. Yes, I think so.
yeah, of course, of course. Maybe they can't. A lot of people, so just not high school. So we talk about university. So just, a lot of people that they think that they're good matches for any position, but they can't find what they want. So of course they need to wait for a long time. And finally they need to choose something else. Okay, so let's have a look at these numbers, Moan. So percentage, it can be seen in the figures that the unemployment rate in Vietnam is quite low. That's perfect. That's perfect. Of course, let's see. Just this is all about Vietnam. So to, okay, 2017. So of course, just, it was, why this year? I want to know. So why in 2010 we have actually an increase here in the number of people who didn't work. So from just, it can be actually a sharp increase because 5.89 to 7.44, that is, I think, comparing to the rest of them, because as you can see the trend is increasing, and then we have a decreasing, and then
Yes.
we have a sharp increase again, decrease in 2011. So I really want to know the reason this year. So what happened?
Uh, as I remember, my mom have said to me that in 2010 there is a pandemic called H1N1 flu happened in a human. So it's
Oh,
quite like COVID-19, but it only happened in some country in Asia. So Vietnam is a country who been affected by that flu. So in this year is yes, that we're affected by flu. So the
yeah,
unemployment rate in Vietnam was quite high,
yeah.
higher than the years.
Everything goes back to illnesses and something like pandemic. Like it's really, I don't know, weird how an illness can affect all the world and everything in a country. So labor market, labor force, labor market, so collocations that that, or working market, so supply of people in particular country or area who are able. One of the biggest challenges that a labor market in Vietnam is facing is the lack of skill. So that's really important. Skilled workers or no. Just for example, and I want to ask you about the salary, so payment. So for, I don't know, a normal, unskilled worker, skilled worker, and expert. So I want to know if the salary is different for these three categories or no. They earn
Um,
same.
the problem is with the student who have just graduated from the university, even they have bachelor degrees or something like that, or a doctor, even a lot of years learning. When they graduate, they probably get a job, but the salary was quite low in every single people, like an unskilled worker
Yeah,
and
of
even
course.
skilled worker.
Yeah, of
But
course.
that is a problem in Vietnam right now because the salary was too low. But the difference between the skilled worker and unskilled worker is after time and time, the skilled worker will be promoted to the higher positions. But
Yeah.
unskilled worker just stay in the one position for a long time with the same salary, and yes, they cannot be promoted.
Yeah, of course, of course. I do agree. And on the other hand, we have some positions or some people or some positions that we think that it's above someone's pay grade. Like this, for example, this position needs someone better. We see that, okay, on one hand, we have some people who are skilled and they can't find their position, suitable position to work. On the other hand, we have some other workers or experts that actually, uh, this position is not a position for this person. This position requires a better, maybe more skill. So it's like this. So we can say
Yes,
that sometimes actually a job, okay, is above someone's pay grade. So it's really important. Just let me write job, okay, for example, can be above someone's pay grade. What is that? Actually, a job that someone more senior should do. So we have Just, I don't know, because especially you know that in uh, politics, people,
Yeah.
okay, so they abuse their power and money, so to assign their family members in different positions. If they know, of course, if they can, what is this? If they can, of course, we don't know. But just because my father is, for example, in this position, because my father, for example, is president, because my father has a really high, for example, position in economy or, for example, politics. So we have this, and unfortunately, it's not good. Tell me about Vietnam. If you face this type of issues or this issue.
Yes, I think in Vietnam is quite simple because especially with a person who work in the government or in politics, probably they can like their children might move might be follow in their family footsteps, like continue to work in politics or work in a government, and their family will help them to do that. So it's quite very simple, quite very familiar in Vietnam. There's a lot of people in Vietnam can work in the government by themselves, like by the talent. It's a little person can do that.
Of course, that is really important. So, how people, so for example, when we actually look at different positions, maybe from the top, or for example, I don't know,
Yeah.
the least and the lowest position. So, we see that sometimes some people are not enduring because other people abuse their money, abuse their position to assign, for example, their family members. And of course, it caused, really significant consequences for society, not only for people, for society. Well, and this one, unrest, disagreements or fighting between different groups of people. There is a growing unrest between the government and a group of unpolitical. Yeah, of course, it should be. So sometimes people protest, sometimes, I don't know, they want to show their disagreements, dissatisfaction. So of course,
Yes.
and I think this is people's right to have good job, at least career. So what do you think about, so first of all, have you ever had an unrest for actually these type of issues in your country?
Let me think. Um, in I think it's no unrest in Vietnam because you know that in Vietnam is the people in Vietnam was quite together. It means we quite I don't know we quite we get together and we work together. So unite. We are
Unite.
united and
Unite. So,
you
so what do you mean?
yes you I don't know how to say that word is
United, you mean? So,
UNITE.
okay, so where was unite? So unit and unite, both of them. So you mean unite, yeah?
Yes. So I see lack of I see not often see people who want to fight something or disagree about the government or something like that. We just follow what they say and
Uh,
just leave. I think so
wow.
because I just in the past and when uh when we still have a rule that a lot of meetings or a lot of uh, of arrests in the street, but right now we don't see it anymore. We just yes, we're quite normal. I think so.
Yeah, of course. So you easily become united, as you said, but not in order to show your disagreements, to follow the rules. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's really, I don't know, you are really different people because normally they, especially nowadays, people all the time have something to complain about. All the time they have something. It can be, yeah, at least in my country, I can say. people find some
Yeah.
ridiculous, really ridiculous reason to complain about. So I don't know. I think in my country, people have more free time, to
Yes.
think of some ridiculous reasons. So something they think that what is that? Why? Really? Really? Because of this? For example, I don't know why this one is red. So government should answer this because we have right to talk. It's a bit, I don't know, in my country, but people different, but that's really good. So I think you are really persistent people. You continue without being stopped, even if, difficulties and problems happen. So I think so.
Mm, yes. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So qualifications. So what do you think about qualifications? So do you think is it really important to have? So many people believe that paper qualifications, I don't know, are no longer the key factor to help you get a job. So, and do you think that is really important? And actually, it's proof that if someone has qualification is better and more skilled than someone who gain by experience, by trial and error.
Uh, I think qualification is something was can prove that you have learned, you have graduated, you have the knowledge after a long time you're working. And a lot of people say that a qualification cannot let you have a good job, but a good people who have a good job need to have a qualification because there is no person in this world that don't have a qualification, they don't get smart, they don't be talented in something that they can create a good job. So I think qualification right nowadays is still important, and people need to have that. I think so.
Yeah, of course. Well, and so I sometimes people who are experienced are really effective and something like for some positions. So I think they're really good matches for some positions, but some people not. I think it's not, of course it's good, but it's not enough. Having qualification is good, but it's not enough. So this one is important.
Yes.
Well, so figure labor market unrest and qualification. We learned the meaning and that the use of these words, how to use them. And now we have finally we have a reading. Okay, we have a text. Okay. So let's read it. Of course, I don't have what is this. So a new report says the number of young people who are looking for a job is still very high in many countries. There are currently 73 million people around the world aged 15 to 24 who want to work but cannot find a job. The International Labour Organization said that although youth unemployment is coming down in rich countries, it's rising in most of Asia, the Middle East, North Africa, and Brazil. The youth employment rate in China really increased from 9.3% in 2010 to 10.6% last year. Economists say it will be 11.1% in 2016. In Brazil, the figure for youth unemployment was 14% at the beginning of this year, but is now almost 16%. The ILO warns that youth unemployment worldwide is set to rise. So, wow, I had definitely different idea about China. You know, I could
You
dig.
know that China.
Yeah, what do you think?
You know that China is one of the most populated country in the world. We got a lot of people in there. And the problem here is when they got a lot of people and the talented, the gifted children, the gifted person are increase every day. So that you know that some of the best university in the Beijing, in the China are full of students, even they are the best university. So you know that when a lot of good people and the talent people, when the talent student like that graduated, they will cover all the job in the world and will take all the job, good job. So I think so.
Yeah, of
It's a
course.
problem on China.
So that was really interesting. So birth rate is increasing in China, as you said. So it's like,
Yes.
and but unfortunately, maybe industry and employment doesn't follow the same pace. So it's like maybe slow pace. It has a slow pace. So because of this, so but I don't know why, because maybe because but you said one of the most populated, I think the most populated country. Do you agree
No,
with this?
sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes India will take the first.
Ah,
Sometimes India will take the first
yeah, it's a
positions.
competition. It's a competition between India and
Yes.
China. So because, I know that, yeah, it's sometimes, as I told you, I'm a big fan of documentaries about especially some countries like, China. I think that, yeah, it was, I don't know, a video from Korea or China, just a room, a house, a home. I don't know what was that. Really, I can't name it. It was, what was that? A cabin, a room, a home, just 5 meter, square meter, just five. And people leave. And yeah, I know that's in architecture. So I, yeah, saw some videos about, they have something to say, a lot to say about architecture, about modern, especially modern architecture, because so high-rise buildings, skyscrapers, like, and we see that people live in sky because they're actually, I think there is no place to live on the earth, on the
Yes.
ground, so they need to live in sky. So,
Yes.
but I thought because, they all the time are walking. So they're really different people. So I didn't know this about China, but why do you think? So as you can see, in developing countries and developed countries, rich countries and normal, I don't want to say poor. So what is the difference that, for example, rich countries, okay, have or face less unemployment, a little unemployment rate. However, developing countries, or for example, maybe different countries, Asian countries, are facing the high rate of unemployment. Why do you think? What's the reason?
I think with any kind of country, they have their own problem. Like a rich country, but you know that in the rich country, the rate between the homeless people and unemployed people with the employed people is really high. But in in the developing country, like my country, that rate seems to be not too high like in a rich country. But the problem in developing country is the salary of people and the life condition of the people, especially in a center, city center, or some busy city,
Yeah,
are that quite low, and we cannot see that. I don't understand that why they like to live in a such a crowded place like that, because they want to live in the central city. They want to live near where they work. Even the salary was too much, but they keep faith that they can they need to working, and
yeah,
sometimes they will get rich. So I think so. There's a problem right now,
yeah, of
and
course. But maybe there is another, it's something related to, maybe, I'm not sure, it's some, maybe, I guess it can be partly related to culture, but what culture? Working culture. So in my country, I can say that people, youngsters, I'm talking about young people. So for example, 15, 16, 17. So youngers uh, don't afraid, don't hesitate working in different positions. Maybe
yes,
really low position, really low, I say. For example, students in university with really great scores and really great family, but they work, for example, as waiter or maybe
yes,
lower position. So it's like,
yes.
don't worry about it, just do it. And that we proud of it. So when we see someone working in this position, so no matter whose parents or presidents or leaders, who they are. So we
Yes.
have people and youngsters who live in really maybe cheap positions. So don't worry about it, just do it. So
Yes.
you have the same culture in your country, because normally, especially when it comes to young people, young generation, they have like, I don't know, it's something like shame, or like, for example, what is that? Hesitation, what is that? For working in really cheap or low position. So what do you think? Do you have the same thing?
That is a different. In your country, we can work in every single position in work, in every work. Yes, it's quite good. But in Vietnam, especially with some city was with some family was quite traditional. They ask their children, ask their grandchildren to study a lot and have a good career, like work in a high position. And if they cannot do that, like they just work as a waitress, as a waiter, and just at a cleaner. And so you know that the relative in the family, a lot of people will talk about that, and the
Oh,
children were ashamed about that. Yes, that was a quite a bad tradition. Things I don't need that happen, but this is in Vietnam, so they just have a controversial argument about that, talk
yeah.
about that all day or night, and sometimes they bring a lot of pressure to the children. So sometimes you know that with
They
us,
push them to
with some,
study. So of
yeah, push
course,
them.
so yeah, of course we have. Just let me say something. I mean, for example, when studying, now you're studying in university. Okay, of course you know your future career. You planned, and so of course you're studying at the same time. Okay, I need time to learn the ropes, to learn how
Yes,
to do new things, to be experienced, to gain experience. So okay, why not? I can work as a waiter, as a waitress, so
yes.
why not? It's okay. So even in this situation, you are criticized by elderly, even in this
No.
situation.
The problem here is the pressure that everybody in the family bring to them. Maybe let them think about some suicidal plan in the future, because I observe a lot of situation like that in Vietnam. Some
Yeah.
young people, even they still studying in high school, like a grade 10 or 11, they suicide when it's still a kid because the pressure was too much from
Oh,
the family and relative. They they have to like something. They have to make the family be proud of them, be proud of them. Yes, I think so.
yeah. And because, I think, as I told you, I have some students from China and different countries, but, I notice about Chinese students. They are
Yeah.
under pressure, I can say terribly. Like, I have some students, they are not kids. For example, candidates for IELTS. So she's studying, she's really good students, and her mom, can you believe me that they text me, please, okay, could you give more homework to study more? Okay, that's enough. And she, like you, exactly the same as you, she studies every day. So that's enough.
Yes.
You are killing this girl. So why? Okay, this is only IELTS. It's okay. She can. But for example, about 5 hours a day. 5 hours a day they study after school. And it's like, oh,
Yes.
and for example, sometimes when I say, okay, it's not, it's enough, and they don't need to do homework, that's enough, or this part is enough, just one paragraph is enough. No, please more, please more. And I'm like,
Yes.
really? So it's why it's, yeah. So I don't know, different cultures, of course. I can't say anything about it because it's part of culture. Well, just let me teach you two idioms that you can
Yes.
use normally. The first one, climb the corporate ladder. So you may heard it before. So climb the corporate ladder, especially when you start working somewhere, you need to move up
Yes.
in the company. So you need to climb the corporate ladder. This is the first one. And the second one, we need time to find our feet or to learn the ropes. That is to learn how to do new things. Of course we need. So because of this, I said that working at the same time as starting is perfect because you learn, you experience, and learning everything by trial and error is perfect. You make mistake, you do it again, and that's perfect, I think. Well, let's keep going with the rest of this text. So let's see. The ILO said it's difficult for many young people who are looking for work. So, of course, it said it's still not easy to be young and starting out into this labor market. It's particularly bad for many young women, of course. The highest rate of youth unemployment around the world is for women in the Middle East and North Africa. This figure is around 45%. Oh, there are many reasons for the gloomy figures. For youth unemployment, one major factor is the global financial collapse of 2008. What is that? Many countries have still not recovered from that, and the ILO says youth employment is not just important for a country's economy, it's also affect health, social unrest, and levels of people's happiness. So tell me about this one, collapse of 2008. So do you have anything to say about it?
Yes, I have heard about there is economic crisis in 2008, like like in your country, the I don't know. I have read some that the collapse of a lot of the bank of commercial company and a lot of organization like that
Yeah.
make the economy became crisis. I think so,
Yeah.
but with some country very developing country like Vietnam in that moment we don't be affected a lot by this crisis because you know that we are not enough to be affected by this crisis.
Ah, got it. So at that moment, at that time, maybe you actually were not included in that collapse. So let me show you something. It's not about us. So why not? You can see actually the crash, this crash 2008 in 3 minutes. Just one moment. It's not bad to watch this video together. Just one moment to share my video. Okay.
One of the tools that the Fed has at its disposal to control the economy is the interest rate. When the economy is rising too fast, the government intervenes and raises interest rates to stop the flow of capital into the market so that the economy doesn't turn into a bubble. Because high interest rates means borrowing money becomes expensive, which means less people would borrow money, which will result in less spending. And vice versa. That's known as monetary policy. So back in 2000s, when the dot-com bubble burst, the stock market lost almost $5 trillion of market cap. The economy was in a recession, so the Fed lowered interest rates from around 3% to 2.5%, then to 2%, all the way down to as little as over 1% to encourage everyone to borrow money and spend in order to get back the economy on its knees. And it worked. By 2003, the economy began recovering. By 2006, the stock market reached its pre-dot-com crash levels. But low interest rates means low rate of return on government bonds and interest on fixed deposits. It no longer made sense for investors to buy government bonds or keep their pile of cash in the banks, since inflation would slowly eat it away, especially when a few years ago they made unbelievable returns during the dot-com bubble. The S&P 500 rose by over 400% from 1995 to 2000s. So investors were looking for a new opportunity, a safe and rising investment to throw their money at, and real estate seemed like a great idea. But investors don't have the time to deal with individual buyers, so financial institutions came up with a brilliant idea. Since interest rates were
Yeah.
so low, everyone was buying a house. So financial institutions would take these mortgages, bundle them together, and sell them to investors in forms of shares. These investments proved to be really great, but banks ran out of financially responsible people to loan mortgages, but investors still wanted to buy these investments. So banks started giving subprime mortgages or mortgages to people with really low credit scores. People didn't necessarily have enough income to keep making the mortgage payments. Why? Because they would take these mortgages, bundle them together, and sell them to investors. Low interest rates and rising home prices kept attracting more and more investors. The reason why these investments appeared so seductive is because the investors argued that even if they would default on their loan, it's not a big deal. The bank can take back the house and sell it, and since home prices were rising, they would still make a profit. It seemed like the perfect investment. So the banks gave mortgages to everyone. That inflated home prices to unbelievable heights. But at some point, one of the borrowers defaulted. So his home was put on sale, then the second one, then the third. Soon, there were so many homes on sale, but not enough buyers, and home prices began to fall. When people saw that their $500,000 mortgage house is suddenly worth only $250,000, it stopped making sense for them to keep making mortgage payments, so they walked away from them. Now, there were even more houses on sale, driving home prices even lower. So the banks were left with a lot of worthless mortgages that no one wanted to buy, so they went bankrupt one after another.
Well, so the problem was interest rate. So as you watch, according to the, do you have any idea about the meaning of this phrase, interest
Bình
rate?
ơi, một câu số 3.
What was that? It's okay.
Yes. I think the problem in 2008 crisis is you know that there is two kinds of crisis in the world is a surplus crisis and a shortage crisis. And problem in 2008 is a surplus crisis in a house for sell house. You know that because of some tricky of the rich people of the organization that they will buy some deposit and then the house the person who buy the house became increasingly and when they would want to sell that house yes you know that the house who which we sell is higher than the person who need to buy a house, so that is basically that I think about that.
Yeah, of course. First of all, let's talk about this phrase that is interest rate that tells you how high the cost of borrowing is or how
Yes.
high the rewards are saving. So this one. So if you are a borrower, so the interest rate is the amount you are charged for borrowing money. So of course it can be shown as percentage or the total amount of the loan. So of course that period, it was like, for example, maybe misleading, misunderstanding. People invested in something, and because of this, actually the decrease in interest rate, it was, as we heard, so something like not only decrease, actually without change, recession.
Yes.
Recession, no buy, no sell. So all these actually factors caused, the period that was really actually maybe bad, we can say economical, really horrible period. Well,
Yes.
okay, so let's answer the questions related to the reading. Where is youth unemployment falling? Where is falling?
I think there's with some country how the labor market price was low, So the young employment will decrease a lot because you know that the price for labor was low, so a lot of company want to put their factories in that country to use that labor's resources, and yes, the employment rate will decrease.
Of course. So, of course, you can get, yeah, in North Africa, Brazil, China, Middle East. Okay. And the next question, okay, is what was the level of youth unemployment in China in 2010? So let's see, 2010, you can check it.
Hmm.
I'm helping. You can see. Yeah. Yeah. Rate
About 4.01%.
10.6. Look, you know, the youth unemployment rate in China increased from 9.3% in 2010 to 10.6%. So, of course, so it was 9.3, that increased to 10.6. Wow.
Yes.
And what did the ILO warn would happen to youth unemployment? Warn.
I'm sorry, cannot understand your question.
So, yeah, you can't. Okay, tell me what they are worried about. Warn. So it's warning. You need to know that this will happen. So be aware. You can find here. Yeah, you can find it here. So let me show you. Here. The
You
ILO
haven't sent the screen yet.
Yeah, warned you. Yeah.
I think you haven't shared your screen yet.
I'm sorry, I'm not. Oh, so what I was talking, I'm so, because of this, I was like, why you are not reading from book when I'm showing you? So I'm so sorry. So, okay, so this one, let me show you the question. What did the ILO warn would happen to youth unemployment? And of course, the answer here.
The ILO warned that youth employment worldwide is set to rise.
Yeah, of course, very. So I was like, why? And I was showing you. That was a good point that I was showing. Look, 9.3 to 10.6. I was showing you.
Because
Okay.
because when you ask me, I'll go to Google and checking because I
Oh,
think that you just asked me.
of course. And I thought that, oh, you memorized it. That was really good. You memorized the word. So, okay. What happened in 2008 to create employment problems? Of course, it was a recession. So you can check it here. It was financial.
Global financial collapse in 2008.
Of course, of course. And what does unemployment affect people's level of?
Uh,
Everything. It affects everything.
yes, it affect yes, health, social unrest, and level of people's happiness.
Of
A lot
course,
of them.
yes. And the last one, do you think that unemployment problems are now getting much better or worse?
With the development of the AI and robot, I think it's getting much worse right now. And in the future,
Uh,
maybe a a lot of people get unemployed in the future. So, too, I think so.
yeah, maybe. So, but you know, on the other hand, by developing social media and internet technology, so more positions, so more
Yes.
chances and opportunities for people who are seeking for jobs. So we don't know. It's like we don't know which one. So, okay, well, and that's it. We discussed this topic in detail, and it's time to go again. Just any questions, any issues?
Thank you. No, I don't.
Okay, so have a great day. And of course, beginning of the week, so have a wonderful week.
Yes. I
Okay,
wish you too. Have
thank
one.
you. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah, thank you. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye.